What if I told you that Mr. Krabs intentionally built the Krusty Towers to fail? We know the lengths he would go through to make an extra dollar, considering at one point he was willing to sell Spongebob for 62 cents. But could he really be dumb enough to create a hotel knowing it would come down on the first day just to commit fraud? See, the Krusty Krab has had a lot of name changes over the years to ensure that Eugene, aka Krabs, aka the Gap Master himself, can make more money. We got the Cuddly Crab, where Mr. Krabs lets Pearl take over the Krusty Krab for the summer. She flips the place into a teen hangout called the Cuddly Crab. Then he changes it to Krusty Dogs after SpongeBob creates a hot dog out of leftover Krabby Patty meat. The item becomes an instant hit, leading Mr. Krabs to replace Krabby Patties on the menu and changing the name of the restaurant. And then finally we have Krusty Towers. SpongeBob and Squidward were walking to work when they reached the Krusty Krab. They're both shocked to see it transformed into a huge hotel called, the Krusty Towers. Mr. Krabs, aka the Moneymaker, aka the Riz God, explains that he got the idea after being shocked by the outrageous prices at a hotel he stayed at. He figures he can make a ton of money by turning the Krusty Krab into a hotel that shall never deny a guest even the most ridiculous request. And he is totally serious about it. So SpongeBob and Squidward are now hotel employees. The first customer walks in trying to order a Krabby Patty, but then he leaves when he realizes he has to book a room to get food. But then Patrick shows up and becomes the first real guest. Patrick, being Patrick, checks in because he needs to get away from it all, despite living just a few steps away. Squidward is tasked with carrying Patrick's bags up to his room using the employee elevator, which is just a staircase. And as the episode continues, Squidward gets more and more frustrated with Patrick's requests, like peeling the crust off burger buns.
It's a bun. It's all crust. How am I supposed to cut the crust off a bun?
But remember, Squidward, we shall never deny a guest even the most ridiculous request. So what does Squid do? He quits and immediately comes back as a guest, planning to make Mr. Krabs pay for all the nonsense. He demands a room on the top floor and makes Mr. Krabs carry him all the way up. Then he literally just tries to make Mr. Krabs' life a living hell, like eating a burger with toenail clippings, repainting his room.
Perfect! This room is exactly the same as when we started!
Squidward's ridiculous requests continue, but at the end, he finally wants an indoor pool, which Mr. Krabs sets up, but then things go overboard when Patrick jumps into the pool, causing the hotel to collapse, and everyone ends up in the hospital with injuries. Now I know what you're thinking. What does this have to do with committing fraud? Krabs simply wanted to make a hotel to make more money of the patties and bookings. But what if I told you that Mr. Krabs knew the whole time eventually the hotel was going to collapse? See, having property insurance on your business is the same as your car insurance. So if something bad happens, like a fire, a flood, or the building collapsing, that the business owner doesn't have to cover all the repair costs out of pocket. And having this security is crucial because rebuilding and repairing a business property can be super expensive. But here's the thing, imagine a business owner who's in a tough financial spot or just wants money. That business owner might do something drastic, like burning down their own building just to get a payout from their insurance company. Like for example, in 1963, the Hotel Roosevelt in Jacksonville, Florida was destroyed by a fire that killed 22 people. And get this, investigations revealed that the hotel owner had significantly increased the building's insurance coverage shortly before the fire, which ensures that the policy covers the current value of the property plus any other additional upgrades. This led to a suspicion of insurance fraud. However, no definitive proof was ever established. And if you're thinking, well, Krabs wouldn't actually try to hurt someone for money, like I said in the beginning of the video, in Born Again Krabs, literally after SpongeBob stands up for him, the Flying Dutchman tells Krabs if he had to choose between SpongeBob and all the money he had in his pocket, which was 62 cents by the way, which one would he pick? And he chose the pennies, my guy. I mean, look at him. He's not even phased. It took Squidward out of all people to make him realize what he did. But even ignoring all of that, this hotel was made to fail. First, right at the beginning, Squidward acknowledges that there's nothing to do in Bikini Bottom and that no one would want to stay at the hotel.
Why would anyone stay at a hotel in Bikini Bottom? It's in the middle of scenic nowhere.
Mr. Krabs seems to be annoyed by this, but doesn't actually argue, almost as if he knew Squidward was right. And I know he is. See, the thing is, the population of Bikini Bottom is way too low for Krabs to think he can make profit on a hotel. Because in the Good Krabby name, I was able to find out how many people actually live in Bikini Bottom. See, Mr. Krabs comes up with a wacky plan to increase the customer base at the Krusty Krab. He starts the episode by taking pictures of random people on the street, just snapping photos left and right. But he is super grumpy because he can't believe that some of these folks have never visited the Krusty Krab. But anyways, later on, there's this scene where Mr. Krabs pulls SpongeBob and Squid into his office and shows them all these photos plastered on the walls of Bikini Bottom residents that have visited the Krusty Krab and the 2% of the population that haven't. I sat and counted how many pictures there are hanging in that room to figure out how many people actually live in Bikini Bottom. I started by counting the ones on the wall with the safe, including this part in the ceiling, and then I noticed the left wall is the one where we can see the most in the shot, and I think it's safe to say that this would be about half the wall. So I counted that, multiplied it by 2 so we can get the other side of the wall, and if we assume that the right wall and ceiling have around the same amount of photos as the left wall, it would come out to a little over 500 residents. And my prediction might be right, because in Whatever Happened to SpongeBob, he starts out by having a really rough day. Everyone in Bikini Bottom starts calling him Idiot Boy, and it just breaks his heart. I mean, from ruining Patrick's mom's birthday cake to Sandy exploding her new invention because of SpongeBob, it's pretty chaotic.
Mr. Krabs, are you okay?
Anyways, the part I want to talk about is when SpongeBob decides he's had enough and leaves Bikini Bottom. Right as he's leaving, there's this scene where he sadly changes the Welcome to Bikini Bottom sign. It originally says the population is 538, right? But SpongeBob, feeling all rejected, crosses out 8 and writes a 7 instead, making it 537 because he's leaving town. So the number I counted up earlier was actually correct, meaning Krabs would literally make no money running a hotel in this town. Another reason why this hotel was made to fail is Krabs wasn't even that upset when a customer didn't want to do business with him and book a room, yet in other episodes, he does anything he can to keep customers.
What? Profit's down $3 from last month. I gotta start running a tighter ship around here.
Like in this episode, he's literally willing to keep the restaurant open 24/7 to ensure no potential customers miss, which shows how desperate this man is to maximize profit and retain every possible customer. But now he builds a hotel and doesn't care? I mean, like I said earlier, at one point, bro sent SpongeBob and Patrick to go on a hunt and find the last 2% of customers that haven't visited the Krusty Krab. So this was a little sus. Third reason is having Patrick stay knowing he doesn't have money or a job is insane to me because Krabs knows this. Like in Pat No Pay, Krabs discovers Patrick has no money after he devours a mountain of Krabby Patties and presents him the bill.
Now let's get down to business.
What's that?
It's your bill.
I don't have any money.
What?
Thinking Patrick can pay, Mr. Krabs is shocked to learn that he doesn't have any money, leading to Patrick being put to work at the Krusty Krab to pay off his debt. And even in Krusty Towers, he only had rocks in his suitcase. He even tipped Squidward in rocks, although ironically he did tip SpongeBob in actual cash. And lastly, Mr. Krabs' plan becomes even more sus when we recall how he reacted at the end of the episode. After the hotel collapses and everyone ends up in the hospital, Mr. Krabs sees the massive hospital bill and instantly thinks about starting his own medical practice to make money. This quick pivot to another money-making scheme suggests that he was probably never really invested in the hotel's success in the first place.
Pack your bags, boys. You're going to medical school. Hooray!
But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Could Mr. Krabs really be the biggest insurance fraud scammer in Bikini Bottom?